sorted and repotted and all kinds of stuff. I'm getting ready for spring and putting plants outside. So this is, I think this started originally as a Snow White pothos, and she climbed all the way up and her leaves were just huge. I mean, they were just huge. But it seems like since she's been in the plant room since wintertime, she's just not been as happy, of course. And the moss pole's just not doing it, although I do see some new growths here. But what I'm going to do is, today I'm going to go around the plant room and I'm just going to start cutting stuff. And we'll just propagate from there. Now, to figure out where to cut from here, well, this is going to be kind of interesting. Normally what I would probably say to do if you have something on a moss pole is to take off the plant tape, and if you have zip ties, you may have to take off the zip ties. I'm not honestly the biggest fan of moss poles. I see why they work, but if you're somebody that doesn't, if you're not super persistent and consistent with your care with them, it's a little harder because you really do need to make sure to wet the moss if they're going to climb up the moss pole. And here, these roots need to grow into the moss. And if you're not watering all the way, the top, it's really not going to help that much. So
it's kind of tedious.
It is tedious. And honestly, I do find it in some things though. Some plants, I think that if it's a smaller moss pole or a moss wall, I do like the moss walls. I think they work a little bit better. You kind of made her like a makeshift moss wall. And it works really well. I think it just has more, maybe, what would you say, surface area to like attach to or something.
And also, like, it holds more water, so.
Yeah, maybe that's it. But I just feel like I don't have to give as much care to the moss walls. So I do think I have a video on moss walls, but I don't remember when I did it. Now this is obviously a new growth, but I'm gonna go ahead and cut it. I always try to cut obviously in between the nodes. You don't want to cut like right on the node like that when you're cutting. I'm doing all kinds of cuttings here today, so some of them probably won't make sense. Some of them will be like, oh wait, why is she cutting that? Well, because you know what? I'm just cutting stuff and I'm trying to get stuff cleaned up. So sometimes what will happen when you have a plant that's not getting, have a plant that's not getting like a ton of leaves and a ton of light, it's going to get either leggy or you're not going to have very many leaves. And so that can happen sometimes when it's not getting good care or good light. Okay, so, all right. And you will notice that a lot of pothos will get like a hardened stem a lot of times as it grows. I forgot the name of that. There's a special name for it. But I do have some plants that do that already, even without having like a super vining. So she was very beautiful in her time on the moss pole, but unfortunately she just needs something different. And sometimes plants, this could turn into like 100 plants, which I'm not going for that. I'm just maybe going for a different look now. So
50.
No, I'll probably just like a super bushy, like something, but she's just not happy. So, and maybe if I put her somewhere else, she probably would be. But, okay, so there's just more that I'm trimming. And looks like the plant tape is great. It's like basically kind of like, what, Velcro?
Yep.
You think?
It is Velcro.
It's great stuff. It just helps keep stuff in line. But what I'm doing is I'm just chopping her down and then throwing all the propagations on our plant table and just basically deconstructing.
Totally.
Deconstructing.
This thing was, if you're just joining, this thing, it was growing all the way up to here now.
And so here you go again. You can see here where there's not very many leaves and it starts to get kind of leggy looking. That's usually where light is not hitting it. If you think about plants, pothos, anything that has roots like these, if you think about it like this, the more places that they can be able to basically dig their roots into, the better. And because then obviously they're getting more soil. This obviously was somewhere that wasn't probably getting very much light. You will get really big leaves when you put them on moss poles sometimes. You can get fenestrations and all kinds of things like that. I've honestly found the most success in terrariums for a lot of Scindapsus and Pothos, and they really do well in the terrarium setting. So here's another one. I have like probably like I've got a ton of cuttings now. So I'm just going crazy here. I didn't think I was going to do this much, but you know what? As I go along here, I'm like, I think I'm going to do this.
She said, I'm not going to go for 100, but I think we're at like 90.
And then I'll probably, whatever's in here, I'm going to pot it in a much smaller pot, because when you have it down to this point, it really doesn't need to be in that big of a pot.
This is basically a 5-gallon bucket. Actually, it is a 5-gallon bucket.
Yeah, it is a 5-gallon. All right, so getting rid of the yellow. I probably could still do something with these here, which throw that over there. But it's time. This room will probably, I think what we're gonna do, or my plan anyways, is turn it into like, I don't know if you guys have seen like those butler kitchens where it's like in the back of your main kitchen, because the one thing I do not like, well, there's things about this house that I do not like. One big thing is the kitchen. Ugh. And the funny thing is, when we came down here to where we currently live, I didn't even see the house. I just let him basically, like, it sounds funny to say pick it out, but that kind of sounds a little funny, but that's what you did.
You didn't let me pick it out. Well, that's not how it works.
I didn't even walk in. We put an offer in, and I just trusted what he told me.
Man.
So I did. And so I like it. It felt good from the outside. I did go, and it reminded me of my grandpa's land that he had in Pomona, Kansas. And I loved it there, and so it just had such a good feeling.
It checked off a lot of the boxes.
It did, but there's like leaks everywhere in this house, and it's a brand new house, and that's the thing that's weird to me. It's like there's issues there, but we have definitely overcome a lot of those issues. But it's just if you get any kind of water leaks in your house of any kind, it's just it's stressful. It's very stressful, and so I think that's the biggest thing. We do have another house up in Kansas City. It's a small house. We used to have 2, but that's a whole nother story. Well, 3 you'd say total.
Yeah.
But that's a whole nother story. Interesting story. So we still have the lot of the third house.
If that tells you anything.
If that tells you anything. Definitely not our fault, but it ended up being fine. It ended up being good.
Yeah.
So it worked out. It worked out probably for the better anyways.
Yeah.
And, all right, so look how much I have cut that down to. Isn't that crazy? Now, some of these bigger, like this root right here, oh, well, never mind.
There goes that one.
Yeah, so that one's going to get thrown up there. So basically, I'm just deconstructing this whole thing, and I'll probably put her in just like really small pot. The nice thing about pothos in general is that they're pretty easy to take care of and pest resistant. So I just wanted to get on here on a live just to show you guys how I'm cutting that down. I was going to go through the whole room. I'll be back and
it was all the way up this
but
thing.
I think I want to go get her repotted. And anyways, where I was going with the kitchen, because I lost track, is we'll probably redo the kitchen completely and where the living room area, and then make this into like where the fridge is, because I don't like seeing a fridge in the kitchen. It sounds weird, but
what did you just say?
Because a lot of butlers' pantries, I think they have the fridge tucked in back and like the sink. So all you basically see when you walk in is basically the big old island. You see a bunch of cabinets. You see maybe a fridge, or like it looks like a fridge, and it walks into the butler's pantry. And it has your real fridge, and maybe like the cooking, like the stoves out there or whatever.
It's like, pretty fancy.
Yeah, it is pretty fancy, but that's what I'm gonna do. It's the plans. So.
Okay, I guess that's what we're doing.
So, okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to repot this because I didn't think I was going to do this much. I'll be back on later to cut some more things, so you guys can join me later, but I just thought I would do this with you guys for the heck of it. So, I'll see you guys in a bit. Let's see.